What's up, boys? It's your boy Cement Mixer 72 back at it again with another banger video. Today we do some Dracotail gameplay, guys. I've played this deck for about 100 duels now, and I've been playing all variants that I've played. I've been playing Shadow, I've been playing like the Swamp version, you know, where you can go to Dragoon. I've been playing pure Hand Trap version, and to be honest, guys, straight off the bat, I'll just admit I think Hand Trap Pure is like my favorite build so far. And I just thought I'd go through some games. Like, this isn't all of them. I've got loads to come. A lot of these are some of like my first games, so like some of the combo ends a bit jank in them, but hey ho. I thought we could, analyze some games together. This is one of the new decks out right now. I've actually got it IRL, so deck profiles and all of that coming soon. I'm gonna take this to an event. And yeah, guys, I just thought, let's just go through some gameplay. Why not, Without further ado, I hope your day is going great. And let's get into the video. Alright guys, game one, starting off strong. We have Dracotail v Dracotail. As you can see, I'm running the Hand Trap build here. This is one of my more recent replays. Obviously, I told you about how I tested Shadow and Pure and even the Swamp build where you can get like Dragoon and that. I still think the Hand Trap Pure build's the best build. And obviously we start with Femena, Nib, Malulu, Ash, and Droll, which is a really nice hand for going first, to be fair. Like, we've got interaction and we have two ways to fuse here, right? Obviously here we'd want to start on Malulu simply because one, it can bait out stuff, right? Like, even if they like negate this, we have Femena in hand as well. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're just going to start off normal summon and Malulu, activate effect. Also, don't forget, guys, that Malulu's better than Femena to use at the start because you can target itself and Femena when fusing into Arphalion. Whereas if you use Femena first, obviously it doesn't count as a fusion material. You just discard it in its effect. So you wouldn't be able to place both the spells down. So that's why also going Malulu first is nice. Obviously, then they fur us, but we have Ash, so we're chilling. It doesn't really matter. So then we go into Arphalion. And with Arphalion, look, we can grab our Ash back, guys. How crazy is that? That's why this deck's so crazy. We just Ashed them, and we can grab it back for next turn. So yeah, we do that. And then we Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 there, Chainlink 3. And then we set both our spells here so we can continue our plays. We grab Pan here. And I believe then we use Rahu, and then we dump Urgler and Pan. So we have both Urgler and Pan in the grave, which is nice because Urgler, obviously, we can grab a card back to hand, and Pan has a graveyard effect. And then obviously Urgler here, Pan here, we're going to get both the traps here. And also this is good. Look, we're playing around if our opponent was on turn like VS. Obviously, they destroy full columns with Ryzen and all that. So it's good to play around that by putting them in different zones to each other. And then here we grab Urgler back to get the Femena. And guys, trust me, you'll see how much I cook this guy this turn, bro. It's actually so crazy. So he normal summons Lucas, right, guys? The thing about Dracotail is it's not like too inconsistent, but a lot of the time, if they're summoning Lucius, they probably don't have Malulu in hand because you usually want to summon Malulu first because obviously if it gets negated, you can still fuse on your opponent's turn. So the fact he went Lucius here, I believe I straight up just use Ash on this. And also, obviously, the traps, you want to use Ash for the traps. But obviously, it's his first turn. So he can't use the traps until my turn. So that's why I'm pretty sure, yeah, I just Ash here immediately, Because that could have won us the game. Obviously, it didn't because he had Rahu. But once again, we can answer it with Flame here. Flame letting us draw a card. But then he also drew the Keto as well. So he drew everything he needed to continue his plays. And he grabs Pan here, which is a spell trap pop, right? So I know that I kind of need to use this horn soon, right? Because he can pop it with Urgler. And then here, obviously, with the Keto effect, because we control cards, he can use Keto as a fusion card. And obviously here, he dumps the Urgler here. So because he dumps Urgler, I know he's going to be able to pop this horn here. So you know what we do? Look how crazy this play is. We have Droll, right? And obviously, once we're under Droll, we can't search with Horn. So look what I do. As soon as he does this, look. Look at this. He obviously chainlinks everything. So 1 Arphalion, so we can grab all his stuff back. 2 Malulu, which will be his negate. 3 Lucas, which obviously also will let him put something on the field. So the thing about Droll here, I probably should have kept Droll because he's kind of done all his searches to hand, let's be honest. But I still use it anyway. Urgler is the main thing here with the pop, and also Malulu to negate my Gulamel. But look what I do here. Chain Droll, alright, chain Droll. use Fawn, because I know it's going to get popped by Urgula anyway. And I'll lock myself out with Droll, so I won't be able to search. I then use Golomel, because I know it's about getting negated by Malulu. So we use it now to pop his Aphelion. And then obviously all the chains resolve. And then look, we know where his horn is, right? His horn's been placed there. Just remember that, because that's important for the end of this turn, guys. Trust me. You'll see how much I cooked this guy this game. I'm not even joking. So obviously he gets horn down, he gets Key2 down, and he gets all of them down because he drawed 3. And then he has to kind of Malulu my Aphelion, which obviously doesn't do anything on field anyway. But yeah, he's pretty much set all of his spell and traps now. Hit horn there. And obviously he's already used Ketu and Rahu this turn, so we can't use them there. And now he's getting back his Lucius, and then he ends turn, alright? So now we draw for turn, and look how crazy this draw is, guys. Ash. We drew into Ash. What we do? Let's see what we do. So obviously normal summon Lucius. I'm just trying to bait negates here, because I've also got Rahu in hand, and I know he can't negate it. So I was just kind of trying to bait anything here. And then use Rahu. He uses the Flame. Flame, obviously. But obviously, we drew our Ash. So I knew this was going to resolve, right? There's no way that our Rahu doesn't resolve here. So obviously, we just Ash this. This is where the hand trap build's so good, guys. Like, my problem with the Shadow build and all that, it just, I don't know. You'd rather just have hand traps, right, guys? So obviously, we can then go into Golomel. We go to Golomel here. Activating our Malulu and Femena here. And he brings back his Aphelion, obviously, just because he wants to send on the board. And then we just set our Flame here, guys. Remember, it's important, right? When you use the traps as well, just a quick tip, guys. When you use the traps, you should always send the other one back to deck after you use it. And that way you get infinite loops. So, right, when I use Flame, I'll send Horn back, right? And then when I fuse and I can place cards on my field, I then place the Horn on my field, and then when I use the Horn, I'd then put Flame, which would be in the graveyard back, if you know what I mean. It's like an infinite loop. But here, obviously, I'm targeting the Aphelion with the Malulu, because there's nothing else to target. I just might as well. And then I can use the Urgula effect to obviously bounce the Femena back to hand. And then use Golomel. Look how big brain this play is, guys. Look how big brain this play is. So, I use Urgula effect to grab Femena. Femena allows me to use Golomel. I know where his Horn is. So obviously he's trying to save this, but I force it out, right? But look how crazy this is. Because he's targeting my Golomel, right? I chain Femena, go into Secretarian Dragon, his Horn misses. I then can use Keto Dracotail because he controls a monster. Grab Urgula to hand. Go to Aphelion, and look at that, guys. Like, how crazy was that, what I just did right there? I beat over his Horn by chaining it into Secretarian. Obviously, now he can't activate any Dragon effects, which is really strong in the mirror. And then he pretty much scoops here, so I've paused the game. But then look how much stuff we have chaining here. So we're returning to hand Ash and Pan, right? Pan is once again another interruption for next turn, if there was a next turn. Obviously, there isn't. Ash again, so we can once again hit all his traps again, guys. And then obviously we're using Urgula, which means we can pop Keto or Rahu in his back here. And obviously because we fused into Aphelion, we can activate both Golomel and Aphelion and special summon them back. And look how much damage is on board right there. Like, we just win game there. So obviously he scoops, guys. And that is how you play the mirror match, guys. Alright guys, into game 2 here. So as you can see by my hand, I'm running Crow here. This was quite early testing when I was just kind of running random stuff just to see how I liked it. I don't really main it right now anymore, but I did try it. And as you see from my hand, we have Flame, Crow, Femena, Fua, and Urgula, and we're going first. Obviously, the Flame in hand's kind of annoying, but it is what it is, it happens. So, but at least we can set it. We know we can set it, right? And Phil is going to be useless because we're going first. Arguably, you could, like, just shotgun it now, just in case you're first and second. I can special summon on your turn. But I'd choose to just use it as, like, material for Aphelion. But with this hand, you pretty much only have one choice straight away, right? You're going to have to use Femena here to fuse off with Urgula. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we do. So here we go, Femena into Aphelion, Aphelion chainlink 1. So I went chainlink 1 Aphelion, and then chainlink 2 Urgula. I arguably should have done it the other way around, because obviously if they negated the Urgula's effect to let me set Rahu, that would have kind of just ended my turn. So I probably should have went Urgula chainlink 1, Aphelion chainlink 2, but it is what it is. They also had Imperm, so I wasn't getting the draws anyway. So yeah, I'd sequenced that a bit wrong there due to my hand. But obviously we use Urgula here to grab the Femina back. And then we use the Rahu to use the Femina. And I dumped Malulu. I probably should have dumped something like Pan here, because obviously it goes in the... Like I said, this was early testing. But at least the Malulu can still like get us our searches. And obviously as we use Femina as material, we also get the to place sent with her. So obviously we're going to go Horn and Kitu here, because we already grabbed the others. Because obviously here I'm going to use Kitu to grab myself another Femina probably. Because obviously we have no way of getting the Femina from Graveyard. So yeah, we're going to use Kitu here to try and grab ourselves another Femina. Because obviously we have no way to get the Femina back right now. But yeah, they had Purge. It is what it is. So we end our turn with the most standard sort of build. Like we have Golem, we have Flame, and we have Horn. And guys, as you can see here, I didn't play around VS very well here, because obviously they can destroy whole columns, right? So I would recommend putting your traps in columns of, like, not directly under your monsters for obvious reasons. Just you're kind of giving them too much value if you like match against them and you do this. So that was kind of a bad play from me. But hey ho, this was early testing, like I said. So here we go. So they just immediately imperm Golem. There's not too much we could do here. And then they go into Copsy. So here, I think I should have just Horned immediately. Because obviously, if they're going into Copsy straight away, they don't have another play. But I believe, like again, early testing, I believe I let them go into the... Yeah, I let them go to the Snatchy, which is a bad idea. Because now they get the field spell. But I'm pretty sure it worked out fine, right? Because we just Horn the Snatchy here. And then... they use the surprise, and we do have the flame for it anyway, so they can't revive back. So yeah, we just use the flame on that, and then we drew into a Lucius, which is beautiful for that. And then yeah, normal summon Lucius effect, grab Femina, and then they draw here, but we have called by, and then they just scoop. So that's a cheeky little game against Yummy for you. But that's another thing I just wanted to show you. When they like normal summon like Copsy first, that usually is an indication their hand's not too crazy. So I probably should have used Horn on the Copsy and then just negated the Snatchy, because obviously they got that extra field spell. But that's why we go over games, guys, right? We're reviewing the games together, and in that situation, I believe Horn the Copsy and then Flame the surprise. This is why we analyze our games, right, guys? Because there, when they normal summon a Copsy instead of using like Hornet Jones or Obedient School, that's a good indication their hand isn't too crazy. So in that instance, we should have just Horned the Copsy, and then when they use surprise, we should have just flamed it. But instead, we let them go into Snatch and get the field spell. Obviously, it didn't matter in the end because their hand was really bad. But just remember that, guys. Just remember that. Alright guys, going into game 3, I believe this game is against Vanquish Soul. And I'll be honest guys, I don't really know what they do yet. I'll be honest guys, put my hands up. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'll be honest, I'm still learning K9 Vanquish Soul. I've learnt Yummy, I've learnt Dracotail. And this was the next one I was going to do, preparing for my regional. Because obviously it's the main deck in the format, so I'm going to spend quite a lot of time on this. So in my next few sort of videos, I should be more prepared for this. But obviously this is my hand trap build again. So we have Droll, Ash, Ogre, Lucius and Keto, which is nice because obviously we have 2 ways. So if they have 1 interruption, we can still play through. But yeah, this is Vanquish Soul, and I don't really know what they did. And I still kind of don't. So just bear in mind, if I do some weird plays in this, it's because I'm kind of just reacting, right? And I'm just going off the reaction. So obviously here, we pretty much just going to start with Lucas here, right? We don't really have another choice. Maybe save the key 2 for a search. Because either way, one of these is getting negated. And going Lucas first is probably, in my opinion, better than starting Keto. Because obviously Keto reads, add 1 Dracotail monster from your deck to your hand. Then if your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon 1 dragon or spellcaster monster. So you want to start with Lucius here, because obviously a lot of decks can summon on your turn now. Prime example being Vanquish Soul, what we're versing. So when you go Lucas first, if it gets negated and if they special summon anything out, your Keto then becomes live as a fusion card, right? And that's why I recommend starting Lucius first. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's what we do. Start Lucius, search. They use Holly Sue, get it out. And then, obviously, we still get the search, which is nice for the Femana. And then, this is where we use the key 2. And they use the effect to take our Lucas, which is actually, like, not really that bad for us, to be honest. And then we grab Pan's hand, because obviously it's another form of interruption. And we're going to use it with Femina here, and then we can pop their card as well, which is nice. So yeah, we go into our Felion with Femena. And then we opt to grab back our own YUGIOH, obviously. So we can just have it in hand. And then Pan can pop. So we pop the Holosu. And then from there we go Rahu into Gulamel. Standard combo, obviously. And then Urgula gets our Horn. And YUGIOH gets our Kitu. And this is pretty much a nice hand. Then we use Urgula's effect, obviously, to bounce the Femena. And look at our board right now. Once again, I didn't really know what the deck did at the time. So I've kind of played into the columns here. As you see here with the Horn and the Flame. So remember to try and put these at the other side. But look at our board. You know, we've got Gulamel, Horn, Flame, Ash, Droll, Ogre, Pan, Familiar. This is actually a crazy hand right now, guys. But remember, these aren't live because it's still my turn. So luckily, obviously, the hand traps are always live. That's why they're so good, guys. I really like the hand trap build. But obviously, we just Ash this so he doesn't get like into Lupus. Because if he got into Lupus there, it could have been dodgy. And now it's his turn. So here, I straight away just go to Ogre it, which is actually good on me. Because obviously, we don't want to destroy all our stuff. So yeah, do that. He obviously still gets the Holy Suit to hand. So he has more plays. I draw here, so obviously they can't add any more cards to the hand, which is nice for us. And then he goes Holy Sue. I immediately use Femena and then pop the Azuna. So he doesn't have the material there. And then, yeah, I go into our Felion here. And I'm pretty sure, because I didn't really know what the deck did, I was just hoping that they had no extra follow-up, if you know what I mean. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, I just tried. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I just wanted to like kind of get rid of all of their cards and hope they didn't have any more like interactions to continue. So obviously here we're grabbing back the Ash to hand, which again is such a crazy thing. I love our Felion for doing that. And then we use Pan's effect to obviously set our Rahu because we already had Kitu. And then the Pan will be able to pop the Holy Suit like that. And then here he did have Jokul, so he summons out both of them here. And then goes into, look how funny this is, right? Look, he goes all the way into a Masquerade. And I didn't realize, but he actually put it in attack mode. So I could have just Horned now, but I didn't realize. So I actually let him activate the effect. Luckily, he picked the wrong one. And obviously then we used Horn to bounce it back. And then he kind of just, yeah, and then he just kind of scooped. But yeah, guys, there's me destroying Vanquish Soul, trust me. Oh, but yeah, remember that, guys. If you are versing Dracotail and they haven't used the Horn, if you don't have an out for it, just don't special summon monsters in attack mode, because it's not going to go well for you if you do that. Alright, guys, into game 4 here. So our hand is Nibiru, Malulu, Kito, Femena, and Fualos. So it's our opponent's turn. So obviously we have the Fua, which is nice. So he immediately goes Femena here. So obviously I'm just going to chain Fualos because we're guaranteed pretty much a summon off this. And obviously he goes into a Felion and we get some draws here. Standard stuff, you know, he's getting the Kitu. Because he added Kitu, he's probably got Rahu in hand as well. And then from here, he normal summons Lucius, gets Malulu. And then look here, he goes for the seal play here, which pretty much just is when you use, because Lucius is a spellcaster and obviously our Felion's a dragon, you can turn Lucius into Spirit with Visor Blue, and then because you control 2 dragons, you can go to seals. But note one tip with this combo, guys. If you've used Malulu the same turn, or Rahu, both of those lock you into fusion monsters, so you can't go into Spirit. Just remember that, guys. Obviously, if you've used Malulu, though, you probably normal summon the Malulu. But obviously, if this was a different turn where maybe you used seals to go into Malulu instead of something like Pan, then use Malulu's effect and then normal summon Lucius, obviously you would then be locked. But just remember that, guys, that Rahu and Malulu will lock you from being able to do this play that you just did. Alright, so then here I go into Secretarian Dragon. Which is kind of risky, right, guys? Because this thing can be outed pretty easily with something like Pan, right? If he just has Pan here, then he can just out this. And obviously we're using Malulu here to negate the Hieratic Seal. And then also being able to set the Horn so we can use it on our turn 1, which is really nice. Because obviously we can just set Horn and then, yeah, it'll be next turn we can use it, which is just, yeah, really nice. And then he summons a Felion here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why I did that, guys. I'm pretty sure he was going to end phase. So I summoned this Secretarian Dragon and set the Horn so then I know I could use it on my turn. And obviously because he's ending the phase, I know he's not going to be able to use Pan. Which is why I could summon the Secretarian Dragon out without knowing it wouldn't be outed. Obviously, if I knew he was going to continue his plays, because he hasn't actually used Rahu yet. I don't think he managed to get to it. And I know he added a Malulu, and he had 2 Fermeners in hand, and he's already used a Fermenter. So we straight up go into Secretarian Dragon here, just so it kind of turns off anything he was about to do. Obviously, he can now go into, like, he can now on his turn, we know he has Malulu in hand, so he can technically out this. But we know he can out this, but it's alright, because obviously we was able to set our Rahu and our Horn doing it. So we've kind of got a lot of value from doing that. Obviously, we couldn't set the Flame because we drew it. But let's see what we do on our turn. So straight away, obviously his Seal's also negated, which is nice. So we can't tribute one of our monsters. Obviously, Seal's second effect activates in Graveyard, so we can still use that. But yeah, it is what it is. So straight away, I just go for the Key-2 play here. And he goes straight into Fermenter. And then bounces my... and then stops my play with Flame. We knew he had Flame. So at least we've outed it, right? We knew he was going to probably do that because he had the Flame. And then he went into his own Secretarian Dragon and dumped the Malulu. So obviously he's going to negate my Secretarian Dragon, which we don't really care that much about because he's used his Fermenter now, right? Then negate the Secretarian Dragon. Our Secretarian Dragon wasn't really doing too much anyway, so we don't really mind that he's about to negate it here. So obviously... So he uses all of his effects, and then we just chain Horn. Obviously, that's why setting Horn was really good for us, right? Because we set Horn, then we could just bounce back his Secretarian Dragon like we just did, right? And now he doesn't have Secretarian Dragon. Obviously, he negates ours, but that doesn't really matter. And he's used his Fermenter already. He's used his Flame. He's now setting up the rest of his board like Horn and that. But obviously, he can't use it this turn. So he's kind of cooked himself here. He could still use Seals in the graveyard, but... Yeah, look, so he negates that, uses Seals here, and then Seals to go into Malulu, so obviously he gets another Fuse. And then he uses that straight away, goes into a Orphelion. This was kind of a bad play for him, to be honest. So he bounced my Orphelion. So he used Orphelion to bounce my Secretarian Dragon, but obviously it was negated anyway, it wasn't really doing much. If I was him, I'd probably went into Gulamel, right? Or, I don't know, saved it for a better time. Like, I don't know. I feel like that was kind of a bad play from him there. Because what does bouncing the Secretarian really do? I don't know. But that's what he did, I guess. So we just normal summon Lucius. We get Urgula so we can pop some of his back row. Then we use Rahu going into our Orphelion. Using Rahu, we dump the Pan. Obviously, we use Urgula as material. So we get a pop there. And obviously, we chain blocked our Orphelion as well. So we can pop with Pan, pop with Urgula. And then we get the returns with Orphelion. And obviously here we popped their Rahu there, set our own Rahu and Key-2, and then return the rest of Orphelion. Go into the Gulamel here. And then yeah, we popped the rest of his field with Gulamel here, and you know what I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, we're just gonna use Urgula, get our Fermenter back, but we can attack here for a lot of damage. And I'm not too worried. Obviously, like guys, Dracotail isn't the craziest for OTKing. Like a lot of the time you will leave your opponent on lowish HP and not kill him, but I was not worried about this game, guys, right? He has one card in hand, he's going to draw one, and we have, so obviously we set the Flame as well, so we know that any fusion spell he draws, he's not going to be able to use because we have Flame. So we pretty much have just won this, and I'm pretty sure that's what happens. Pretty sure he draws a spell, tries to use it, we Flame negate it, and we just straight up win, guys. But that's another win in the mirror matches, guys. Alright guys, welcome to the final gameplay analysis of this video. And as you could see, look at this hand. So we're going first, right? And we have double Nib, Fua, Ash, and Flame. So, obviously, going first, this hand's pretty dodged because we can't make a board. So it's either, do we set the Flame or do we use Fua? See, both... Arguably, you just use Flame, right? If you set Flame, you could then use its effect, right? To negate a spell. And then once it's off the field, you could then... Your Fua's live. But that's also risky, right? Because at the same time, what if your opponent doesn't use spell? And then your Fua's never live. So it's kind of like... It's probably worth to set. But I'm pretty sure here, I just pass my turn, guys. Because I just want to use the Fua straight away. And look what we're versing, guys. We're actually versing one of the new decks. We're versing... I don't even know how you say it, but... Yeah, we use Fua off that, because obviously I don't really know what it does too much. So I just wanted to shotgun Fua, you know. Shotgun Fua, hopefully it resolves, you know how it is. But he uses Heka Hands, and it adds, so I pretty much just ashed this. Because obviously I was kind of hoping he bricked, because obviously, look at our hand. So we negate that, but it has another effect. It makes us discard. Luckily, we drew another nib, so it doesn't hurt too much, because we just discard one nib. And it was actually Hekatonashir. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's one of the new archetypes. So I thought it'd be cool showing this in replay, guys, because, you know, it is a new archetype. So yeah, he pretty much summons that out. I just ogre it, because obviously, once again, I don't really know what it does. But I was hoping if I ogred it, he would have no follow-up. But he actually, like, he can actually grab one of my monsters from the deck. I probably should have read the card, let's be honest. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, he pretty much continues. Luckily, we still have Nib, right? But the important thing is here, if we want to win this game, we have to use Nib at the right time. And I knew that this wouldn't be the right time, because obviously he's going to go into a Chimera Fusion here. So he Chimera Fuses here. Still, I don't Nib here yet. I don't Nib here yet, guys, because obviously we know he's got more plays. So I'm pretty sure I nibbed at the perfect time, right, guys? Let me know in the comments if I did. I knew he activated this, look. Now, look. Everything's used, right? We know this set card's probably not going to do anything. He's just special summoned out his last extender. So now we nib here. Bosh. Look at that. And I was right, look. He had to end his turn. But he did have another play. Look, he was able to special summon this out. And I read this card, right, before like, as the turn went. Because obviously it's the only card on his field, pretty much, apart from his set card, which I assume is going to be something like an imperm. Or, yeah, something like that, right? So we basically have to bait out two interruptions. And this interruption isn't even that crazy. Look, during your opponent's main phase, quick event, you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, but banish it when it leaves the field. So it's basically just graveyard interruption. So I pretty much decided I'm just going to try force out straight away. So straight away I use Urgula here, obviously to try and bounce back. And once again he did do it. So yeah, we already baited that out. And he grabs the Lucius, because obviously the only other Dracotail we had was Lucius. And obviously we also normal summoned it. We also had one in our hand, so it didn't really matter if he was going to take that either way, because we weren't actually going to use it. But it's a pretty, like, he kind of had to do that, because he didn't know our hand. And obviously this is a one-card starter right there. But obviously we normal summon Lucas. We're not too worried, because we have Rahu in hand. And as expected, he did have Imperm. But obviously we have Rahu in hand, so we don't really care about that. So then, yeah, back to our Rahu. Go into our Felion. Our Felion, I decided to bounce this Nib token because, you know, it's kind of really big. And then I use Femena's effect here to set our Keto, because obviously as he controls monsters, it's a fusion summon. And I grab Pan here as another way to pop a card. And then our fusion summon with Pan here. Pan, and then we can use Golem as effect. We pop his other card. And then we use Pan to destroy. And look at that, guys. We attack beautifully. Full game. There you go. Bush. The new deck, whatever it does, it doesn't beat Dracotail. Let's go. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you did enjoy. And once again, I do have a lot more Dracotail content coming. I've got like 20 extra duels saved, like replays. And like some of those weren't even my best replays, but I thought, you know, we'd like I'll probably do a few more gameplay videos, so I thought, you know, we can segment them out. We'll get some deck profiles going, you know. We'll get like all the shebang going, and as always, we'll also have other content coming on the channel. But without further ado, guys, I really hope you did enjoy this video. I hope you learned something. If there's anything that you could teach me that maybe I was doing wrong, I don't know, then don't forget to let me know, because I do like to improve myself. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.